Have you ever been?
Out down 5:30, let's call this the 25th County Council meeting of order. Given an invocation by Councilmember Rankin, followed by the pledge of allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day. Lord, I thank you for springtime and just the weather and the new life that is coming. And Lord, I just pray for tonight's meeting that everything would be done orderly and in your will. And Lord, I pray also for leaders both locally and statewide and federally, Lord, that we would honor you with our actions and with what we're doing. Draw us closer to you and bless everything that happens here tonight. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On this wonderful evening. First, we have approval of the agenda. I have a motion. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Carroll, second by Ms. Clark. Are there any additions or deletions to the minute or to the agenda? Here none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. All right, up next, we have approval of minutes. We got 3 sets to approve tonight. One for March 28th regular session, another for March 14th, committee as a whole, and March 20th.
I make a motion that we approve all 3 of those minutes.
Motion by Mr. Rankin. Second by Mr. Carroll. Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes? Here none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approval, please raise your right hand. 7-0. All right, up next, we got a couple special recognitions this evening. I'll start first with Ms. Clark. I'll let her present the one she has.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of, I don't see the chiefs here this evening. But they might be on their way. I do know they do have the ballroom open and serving dinner at this time. I think they close out at 6 o'clock. But we are, on behalf of Lawrence County Council, it is a deep pride that we, the Lawrence County Council, do by recognize with great extreme honor Johnny and Shanola Chiefs. Whereas Mr. and Mrs. Chiefs have over 10 combined years experience and special events and hospitality. And whereas seeing the need for a larger event space in Lawrence County, the Chiefs purchased and rescued the historical National Guard Armory built in 1930. And whereas taking time to clean out decades worth of scribbles, gradually renovated the need of building and seeing the vision come together for a space, event space. And whereas Shanola and Johnny Chiefs opened the doors of the ballroom wedding and event LLC, March the 12th, 2022. For this accomplishment, on behalf of to open up the ballroom wedding and event LLC, we congratulate Mr. and Mrs. Johnny Chiefs with great honor on this 25th day of April 2023. This is the award that the county is going to present to them. Thank you.
Take that as a motion to approve resolution 2023-B. Ms. Clark, does that sound good?
It sounds good.
We have a second. Second by Mr. Youngs. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. All right, up next, we have a special recognition the week of April 9th through April 15th was National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And we have several of our folks here tonight. Actually, I'll recognize, you want me to do it? I'm gonna do it anyways. Well, you kind of introduce the people you have with you this evening. Come on.
Danielle is our GIS technician and also helps out with dispatch. Honesty is our frontline 911 telecommunicators. Jeannie is our training coordinator and helps out with dispatch.
We are lucky to have you all with us tonight. And I'll read you the proclamation. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, and emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs and prompt response from police officers, firefighters, and paramedics, it is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. Whereas the safety of our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of the information obtained from the citizens to telephone Lawrence County Emergency Communications Center. And whereas the public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas the public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas the public safety telecommunicators of Lawrence County Emergency Communications Center have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job this past year, be it proclaimed today that we recognize National Public Safety Telecommunicators. Thank you. Another second. Fried.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
Like to let you out.
I'll make that in the form of a motion for resolution 2023-PSTW.
Second.
Second by Mr. Wright. All those in favor, please raise your right. 7-0. Any comments from county council on either one of those proclamations?
I'm proud for both of them. Awesome for our community.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next, we have public comments. Up first, we have the town of Waterloo.
Good evening. My name is Gary Williams. I represent the town of Waterloo. I feel I'm among friends. The town and the region are requesting an EMS substation. Important. I have 6 points that I would like to present to council concerning the Waterloo region's proposal. The first, we contend that a new EMS substation in Waterloo will save lives. That's an important quality that I'm sure you as a council would contend would be one of the most critical points that I'm going to present to you tonight. 2, it would provide quicker response to the region. 3, it would improve run times, thus saving lives. It would benefit everyone. Number 4, it would benefit everyone. Number 5, it would decrease the county's liability of not having adequate EMS coverage in Waterloo. And number 6, having another EMS station would decrease, we contend, would decrease the insurance rates on the county's general liability coverage and policy. We think that these 6 points are critical to you all examining our petition. We ask that you look at the issue at your next budget. I really never have requested $500,000 to $1 million from a county. It's for the general benefit of the entire region. We have the lake as well as the town. And some say that Cross Hill covers the area, but I would contend that if you all were to have a substation right there in the town or close to it, it would help. We ask that you make this vision a reality of saving lives. That's the most important point I would like to address to council. I would like to introduce the town of Waterloo's mayor, Barbara Smith, and she will present the petition.
I'm Barbara Smith, the Mayor of Waterloo, Town Council, and concerned Lawrence County citizens. Here with petition the Lawrence County Council to establish a Lawrence County Emergency Medical Service EMS substation within the town limits of Waterloo, South Carolina. This EMS station is needed for the Waterloo community with proper emergency medical equipment and personnel. This new Lawrence EMS substation shall save lives, improve the safety of Lawrence County residents, improve and shorten the waiting time, improve the overall Lawrence County EMS station. So please try to help us out. If you don't, you'll feel it, I ain't praying.
And I think we have about 250 signatures associated with that petition.
You happen to have a copy of that by any chance?
We will give it to your county attorney. Is that the protocol?
Well, any, that'll work. If you feel comfortable talking to that man up there.
Going too low. I remember when he had hair on his head. Thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you, Gary.
All righty, and up next, Ms. Reverend Evans.
Mr. Chairman, County Council, good evening. Thank you for the work that you do. It has been a difficult time for me these last couple of years. So when a citizen calls, asks for my help, it helps get me out of the bed and keep the room. I presented to you a packet of information. In that packet of information, you will notice that Harris Bridge Church Road Bridge is closed, has remained closed for 4 years. That's too long. If you will notice in your packet, Kellett's store is the only store on 101. The people who live on Harris Bridge Church Road and the offshoot roads can't just run to the store, pick up a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, or get gas. They have to find their way in a back way back to Grayport, Fountain Inn, or the Wooders to go to the store. Also, we have several residents on the opposite side of that bridge. Harris Grove Baptist Church is about half a mile from the bridge. None of those people can get to that church. I didn't take a picture of Bramlett Church. It's on Bramlett Church Road. I'd say about a mile and a half from that bridge. I think it's Friendship Baptist Church is off 101. If that road is open, it would help church attendance for those churches. Also, the Postal Service has had to reroute its mail delivery route. I'm sure that they would be happy to be able to shorten their route and say the post office is always in trouble for money. And the young lady that I spoke to is Ms. Donna Carter, and Mr. Yeah, she's spoken to you several times about this. Mr. Carver had a stroke in, first part of the winter. It was a severe stroke. He has had to stay with his family in North Carolina to receive the assistance that he needs. They are ready to bring him home, but they timed it. EMS would take another 15 to 20 minutes to get to their house by way that they have to come. Also, I'm informed that there are several other elderly people whose health is not good that live on Parish Bridge Church Road and on an offshoot road that would suffer the same consequences. So I'm asking and begging now that that bridge be opened, that that bridge be replaced as soon as possible for convenience, safety, and the safety of lives. Mr. Carver's health could deteriorate at any moment. 15 minutes could save his life. The other people who suffer from diabetes and other issues, 15 minutes could save their lives. So I'm requesting that you would look into reopening that bridge as soon as possible. Thank you.
I know we already shared with you, but I will share with the rest of the council just so they're up to, that is one of the bridges that we are currently looking at replacing. Mr. Wilson, his department has actually received bids back already. And CTC is meeting on Thursday to discuss it. So I hope we get a favorable report out of the CTC committee on Thursday, but it is being addressed and we will continue to address it until we get the problem fixed.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have report to council. We'll start with the CPST updates. For you up first, Martha Dandy Community Center.
Chairman, council, and with you, Brian Brown, who's the design consultant for a project that finally going to be able to get started on here. We're scheduled to have the Martha Denny project to sign contracts and start shortly. Brian, speak about the detail.
Thank y'all. Just for a recap, quick recap, you started the project up on your CPST. We were contracted to go into survey the building, take a look at it and the property, all that. And from that, we completed a feasibility study of what to do with the building, not do with the building. And from there, what we're going to do is start off with the abatement of the building, clean the building up, demoing it out of any over bin. There's mess inside there. It's set for a while. So in the demos, we completely clean the building out to the abatement and get everything out of there, put some new windows in there and get it dried in safe. And then from there, we'll go to the next steps. That's what we're at.
Any questions from council on that project?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So what is the money, where does the money take us? That's the first step. Where does the money take us after?
I can't remember the exact dollar, yet $700 and some $1,000. And to do this, to do all this, we'll spend about $335,000 to get it where it's safe and dried and everything else. You'll have that left over after that.
Remaining money will act as a contingency during the first phase of the construction. Kind of go back with the committee, once we get done with that portion, funds that are left, and talk about what else can be done. We're thinking of getting them electricity and some lighting, minimal lighting and HVAC in as the next steps in order to expend the rest of the funds there.
What would be his ultimate purpose?
For the for community center. Yes.
So the electricity and lighting would be essential.
Yes, essential parts of that. Yes, sir. Rooms or room, you know, as much as can be done. And then in future, as they get future funds, to be able to tag on to that and expand it through the building and complete.
All the wiring, everything was stripped out of that building.
And plumbing
And
too.
plumbing.
I'm just not bad at French.
Yes, I'm trying to figure out. Have they decided a mission for this building? There's a mission, they have a mission, you don't have
I
that?
don't have that part, because their committee has gotten together, probably get out there to meet with them, and they're putting that final touch to what their mission and vision is doing that building. That was part of the, before they got that completed, we need to get the feasibility done, determine what could be done or not done. Yeah, so they're trying to finish, they've got together with that and trying to finish that up. I don't have that answer.
You have the square footage of the building? You have it?
It was 13,000 plus square feet, somewhere in there.
13,000.
Yeah.
Some of the things they discussed up front with this, Ms. Anderson, was to use it as a community center for tutoring, perhaps, senior programs, have it as an event center, also a gym for kids to go play basketball after school. Kind of some of the initial things that have been discussed.
That's what I had heard, but I just want to make sure that the council also knows some of the things that they were working toward.
That'd probably be a good thing, once we got this going, to determine what can be done or not, then they come back, because they're gonna have to finish raising the funds for the rest of it.
But at least we know the square footage and you have to start from the beginning to get it safe. So I think that's, thank you much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have the historic courthouse.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Just a quick update on the historic courthouse. The abatement began March 22nd with the historic courthouse on the interior. That was allotted 2 weeks, so they did finish on time and on schedule. So the abatement is complete on the inside. There is some abatement on the roof with some of the roofing tar, but that will be done by the roofer when they begin work on the roof. Demo has began on the outside of the building on the 2 porticos. They're removing the stucco that is cracked, some of the cracked cement. So that is going on currently. They've taken, removed some of the dental work, that's your decorative pieces around the roof line. Those are being remanufactured for Cruise. Matter of fact, they were looking at some today to proof remaking those decorative pieces. And then lastly, it seems that Mashburn is performing extremely well with controlling their work site and the safety, being downtown with all the businesses and the business center of Lawrence County there. And then Friday afternoon, when they finish up for the weekend, they're pulling their cones back to the chain link fence and opening up as much parking as they can on the southern end, so that the citizens have those parks as well as on the weekend. Everything is on schedule, going well.
One for here. Question from council on the historic courthouse project. I do want to make sure you thank them for us, because it's a great job they are doing it with the fencing, keeping it secure. That was one of our biggest concerns.
I've been very impressed with their safety protocols and their processes for that. So,
Thank you so much. All right. Administrator, do you have anything for us this evening?
Make sure that we are just still live. I've got 3 items for discussion. First of all, the county gets CDBG grants from time to time again, and under those CDBG grants, we're required to meet certain standards and set forth. We've been asked by the Council of Governments to adopt some of those certifications in the form of an agreement with the Council of Governments that arrived on my desk. We need to move forward with that, and the county attorney's still looking over it to make sure we're in accordance and meeting the mark on every single one of those things. I need council approval to to attest that we are meeting those requirements as it applies to loader modded and common, those type of things for CDBG grants.
Need a motion to authorize county administrator to execute a contract or report, what is it?
It's just certified that we meet the standards for CDBG grants.
Compliance.
Correct.
Need a motion for the county administrator to execute the compliance agreement with the Savannah Council of Governments.
Correct.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carroll. Second by Mr. Anderson. Are there any questions or discussion?
I know they do have to comply with, a lot of guidelines within, the federal as well as the state, to, make sure that we are serving the people that we're supposed to serve with the projects that are given. So,
And our concern, the administrator and I discussed, is it's been a while since we've done a CDBG of this nature. We just want to make sure that what we had in place 5, 6 years ago was adequate to carry forward.
a lot of funds are coming in from the federal government and real as the state, so they want to make sure we're complying and all that, complying with all the other agreements that we're supposed to be about. So thank you for the work.
We have a motion by Mr. Carroll, second by Ms. Anderson. There's no further discussion. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. That's one. What else you got?
Number 2 of 3, we spoke before about the funds coming in for the new interchange at I-385 and I believe it's exit 18. We've been working with our partners, Thomas and Hutton, and LCDC and all the players in that programming to finally reach a point where we can move forward. And a lot of that is just the scope of services, reporting that takes place to the highway, to the DOT and the Federal Highway Administration, environmental services, all the testing that goes along with that. We need to approve a professional services agreement, which is addendum number 7 with Thomas and Hutton, that allow me to engage in that agreement.
Just verification, is this the interchange study from 18 or is this the exit 16-101 project?
Is it 19 Highway
It
14?
is exit 19, Highway 14.
Is it the frontage road?
Yes, sir.
Frontage,
And that's what I wanted to, because there's 2 going on in Great Court right now.
Correct.
Here's one it is. That one's the one that's sort of just gonna examine the exit 19, Friendship Church Road, all the frontage roads, all the thoroughfares through there to make a determination on the best options moving forward in that area. Just for verification, need a motion to
Enter into a professional service agreement with Thomas and Hutton Engineering, pending review by county attorney.
and these funds will be coming from the,
From the appropriation itself, nothing out of.
so we need a motion to allow the county administrator to enter to a professional services agreement with Thomas and Hutton for the 35 interchange study. So moved by Mr. Rankin, funds to be used from the appropriation side. Second by Mr. Carroll. Is there any discussion or questions? Here none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0.
Thank you, sir. The last thing on my list, the city of Lawrence is going to start utilizing the Central Square software as the county started using it. It was about a year ago. We started this service. Lawrence City is going to start using the service as well. However, some of the abilities to utilize that service are on our internal servers here inside the county. In order to do that, for Central Square to get in and start getting those services off the ground, they need an access agreement between us and the city of Lawrence, basically an MOU between the two, allowing them access to servers. And I'm just seeking council approval of that, so the city of Lawrence can start moving forward to finish out their service.
Is there any monetary impact on that?
So this is just a governmental MOU.
Motion for the county administrator to enter into an MOU that has been reviewed by the county attorney with the city of Lawrence and Central Square for use of server space.
It's just access, allowing us to grant them access under my purview.
You know, much is happening with technology now.
Don't ask me to. I'm doing good to work a TV remote.
Okay. Cause I know, you know, when start opening up for access, that means sometimes other people can access
So
while
there,
they're trying to access.
the way I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, we have a server, and on that server, it has a program. And Lawrence City is going to be using the same program. However, it's housed on our server. So we have to give Central Square access to our server to let them use it. Okay? And they have a separate agreement with Central Square. So it's under our supervision with our agency as far as that.
I understand that part too, but I just didn't want any way that someone could hack it in the, you know, because I know a lot of things are going on now that people are also worried about. But
Can't guarantee that.
I wish I had an answer for you.
Well, I just had to ask, because I really am not asking the right questions, but I know there's so much out there that I just, you know, I just don't want us to get in a problem where we having a problem, that's all. But
The access agreement does give us recourse to get somebody who may illegally access as a user. But, you know, that's pretty complicated litigation, that's all.
okay, well, as long as you're aware, and I think anytime that we are conscious of something, we can always do something.
And if you have any subsequent questions, following before we ask. But if you come up with any other questions, feel free to ask.
Okay.
Prior to that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I assume we've entered a similar agreement with the sheriff's department, requested access to those servers when we did that program about a year ago.
Well, that was with Central Square. This is between us and the city on the intergovernmental.
Okay, this is allowing them to do the same thing we did with the sheriff.
Correct, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do we have a motion to allow the county administrator to enter into an MOU with the city of Lawrence in regards to Square accessing our service?
So,
Motion by Ms. Clark. Second by Mr. Carroll. Is there any further discussion? I do want to say, I hope that program has been useful to our sheriff's department. I think it's provided y'all better access and our abilities. I think it'd be good to extend that to the other agencies in our county, and I see another one in the room. I don't know if they're on it yet. Maybe they'll get there in the near future. But I think it's great anytime we can put more technology and better information at the fingertips of our officers and folks on the front lines every day.
Because I can remember, Mickey, when y'all didn't even want to get on the same line we were on. Remember that? Okay, that's a different debate, okay, so I just want to remind them about it. Thank you.
All those in favor of approving, motion, please raise your right hand. 7-0.
And Mr. Chairman, I have one more, but I'm gonna defer that to the county attorney.
Yeah, he rolled a grenade over here. This is something again that it's been around for, actually goes back to Governor Campbell's days and Les Walters. I may remember when all this workforce development. Here's your age. You're probably right there. But the Office of Workforce Development the board is consistent of the 7 chairpersons of the counties that are in. This is simply a heads up that same MOU that has been there for a long time, 6, 8, 10 years, something like that. This is just kind of reviving it. Again, there's criteria, guidelines, Ms. Anderson, I'm familiar with how this thing works. One of the things that the governor did then and Lex Walters did was try to get more, and you know, as we were phasing out of the textile industry into other types of industry,
that was kind of the method behind the madness of setting this workforce. They do talk with their development corporation. Even though they're not hand in hand, they collaborate with our workforce that the development corporation works on. Ms. Finley has talked with them, so. But this is strictly driven by the counties, and the board is made up of the 7 council chairs. And what I'm asking is permission to allow Mr. Patterson, as chairman, to sign in 4 places so that we can get this thing kicked off. I think it's due the 30th, and the MOU will kick in on June the 15th. We reviewed all the documents and everything's in order. So we'll authorize the chairman to now officially become a member of the board so we can move this forward.
County Council to execute the agreement. On the workforce and development.
Yes. Right, yeah, that's the Brown Workforce Development Board.
Carol? Second by Mr. Gillis. Are there any questions for the attorney or any discussion? Call the vote on it. Please raise your right hand. 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
I'd like to read that question. All the reports. Anything else from the county administrator?
Yes, sir, not others.
Moving on, we do not have any old business lined up. We do have several items in new business. First is a discussion on budget meeting schedule. You all pull out your calendars. Just preface, I know the county administrator along with Sparrow and our great folks in the finance department have been working very diligently on the budget. What I've seen so far is looking great. Fund 110 looking really good. Feels like we're gonna have some discussion on fire and EMS, especially after the voice we heard this evening. That will also be included in that discussion. I think what we'd like to do also, Mr. Carroll, I recognize you working very diligently on the chair faculty and at the thinking center, and working on that. I would like for us to start this year with the fire and EMS budgets. They're separate, independent, easy to work on those specifically without having to muddy the water with a big budget. And then after that, we can address other sections of the budget as we need to. I know the administrator is getting ready to send out the consent budget back to the department heads. And if they agree with if there were any adjustments, they'll either consent or ask to present to council. But I'm thinking it May 2nd too early to have our first meeting to address fire and EMS. All right, Mr. Chairman, May the 2nd. May the 2nd. Next Tuesday. Does that work for fire and EMS? Because we have not. All right, we are here, y'all. We'd like to have y'all here for that discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I can involve on that today.
Okay.
And I would love to be a part of that discussion.
Absolutely. Fourth, we need to talk for a week or two.
Except for Monday.
Monday work for everyone, May the 1st. Day 1. Set the first one for May the 1st.
The other two, I haven't had it with even all of my Tuesdays open since we have the second and both Tuesdays, always the time that we have county council meeting, and we used to make sure we have Tuesday open, so you can always.
You know, I understand. I left Tuesday over to my wife.
I know you don't have any for the rule on there.
All right, May 1st will be fire and EMS, and that'll include operation and capital, those two. at 5:30 p.m.
Where do you meet?
Have a regular meeting on the 9th. 16th will be another good day for everyone. That'll be third Tuesday.
Mr. Chairman, would it be possible to combine the workshop with the night?
You would, but you've never been here when we've been here till 11:30. It's not fair. We were trying to avoid those late night meetings, but I'm down.
Okay, is it any way possible for us to try to, schedule, one of those, kind of compile everything into maybe the second or the fourth Tuesday, and then give us one of those Tuesdays to have it, the budget all that day? I mean, instead of,
Like to have a budget meeting in lieu of a council meeting?
if we could.
What do you have pending? I know second reading of the budget's on the third, so we're good. They are.
We possibly have an economic development matter coming, but it can slide.
Okay.
It's not an urgent issue.
We may have one item, but we're gonna try to get an extension on that item. To make it.
All right, how about May the 9th for the next section of the thing? And we will tentatively plan on looking at corporate capital and then the other designated funds, such as solid waste or any other ones that are separate. We'll dive into those first to give the general budget that's still being assessed a little more time to get there. However, if it is ready by then, we can maybe take a first look at it that evening, or at least on the departments that are ready to go.
Yes, sir, it should be. We pretty much have it balanced, ready to go.
All right, so we'll go May 1st for fire and EMS and May 9th. Remainder. On May the 9th, we will plan any subsequent meetings that are necessary. That work for everybody?
That's May 9th meeting starting at
5:30. And if need be, we will have a council meeting that's already scheduled in theory. So if we have some business to address, we'll address that and then we'll adjourn and open up.
We just have to be conscious of making sure the publications that we require.
Absolutely.
And I think that'll work out, so we can get those in by the 23rd. So, because that'll be kind of real numbers that we'll have to plug in.
Right, and second reading that is tentatively scheduled for the 23rd of May. Followed by the public hearing on the 9th and the last public hearing on the, I'm sorry, no. June 13th.
Correct.
June 13th for the first public hearing, June 27th for the second public hearing on required and third reading of the budget. All right. All that being scheduled, but first we do have a first reading of the general operating budget. I will turn it over to the administrator for any comments before we.
Sir, as far as the general operating budget goes, pretty much what I just stated, we have it pretty much balanced pending, the consent items. It's really a consent budget based on departmental input. We met with every single department, got all their input, got a wish list basically, and had to have a lot of hard conversations. Revenues this year were up in the ballpark of around 12% over last year. So, but a lot of that again is pending on, Mr. Carroll's diligent work, the sheriff's office, getting those final numbers compiled, but the general operating budget.
Just for clarification, I know I read over this, everything says TDD. What it is, after we have our first and or second workshop, we'll be able to fill those numbers in. But just to talk about the levies and the script, you correct me where I'm wrong. with the county growth, we were allowed 0.22% increase along with the CPI or CPI GDP was 8%. So the allowable index in that number 2 that you see on the ordinance there would be 8.22. Exactly, we'll fill in. I don't see us changing the solid waste fee. Road fee shouldn't change. Then as we come down to the ordinance, we'll have numbers given to us for the special reserve fund balances.
Ms. Morrow is great with helping us fill in the blanks.
And 4D, that number actually our entirety of our budget. He is the one, the millage. We have a official number from the auditor yet.
I think we were trying to hone in on it. You recall off the top of your head.
Say somewhere around 215.
I think that was the actual value.
Yeah, don't hold me to that.
That's what I was thinking. I just want to make
Right,
sure
I
that
think that's.
she hadn't changed his mind.
We changed his mind. I think that's the people we worked off for, that Mr. Higgs has worked off with tomorrow on the budget.
Good. At the meeting, F and G addressed the fire. I'm sorry, F and G or EMS, H and our fire. But those numbers will be filled in and given to us. All the tax millage.
And those will be figured with the 8.22 adjustment.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Are there any questions from council?
So we basically, okay, so even though we have the blank spaces, our motion is going to be that this be the first reading based on the what?
I guess in theory, be a name only, just like we.
It being titled.
This gets the process done every year, so we can stay on schedule.
So we
Public hearings and notifications and
So-
finalize.
So we're gonna say on title only?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yes, we just provided that so you could look at last year's final budget and kind of see what kind of blanks can be filled in. Because you still got some work to do, but we'll work with staff on that. Yeah, this gets the process, all 3 of these get the process moving forward, so you don't run into a time crunch or have to ask to go past June 30th.
Verbiage is there, I'll fill in the numbers. Basically.
Yes, sir.
All right. There are no questions. I'll call for first reading of ordinance 941, general operating budget in title only.
I move that I move for first reading approval of ordinance 941, the general operation budget in title only.
Yeah, by Ms. Anderson. Second by Mr. Carroll. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Up next is ordinance 942, which is the full year budget. Take a motion on that one in title only as well.
Yeah, this was weird voting on. I've been doing this my whole life. We've been very voting for things. I tried it only. It's not my first having 3 meetings, but it's another way around it. It's 942.
Have a motion by Mr. Trouble. Second by Ms. Giannis. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Last but not least, is the local option sales tax ordinance number 943. Remember from years prior, there's a, to be honest, I don't know if it was enacted, but there's a 1 penny sales tax that comes back from the county to help offset tax revenue, and we have the opportunity, if we desire, to take up to 29% of that, which we have historically done. Some years we don't. And the way we have it worded the past several years is up to the allowable, which gives the administrator, as he's working on the budget, the ability to throttle that up and down as needed to provide what we need to for the budget. So this one is complete. There are no TBDs in that, so we can take full reading on that one, Mr. Trouble, if you decide.
I desire, Mr. Chairman.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
All right, I'll take a motion from Mr. Tribble to approve ordinance 943, local option sales tax on first reading. Second by Ms. Clark. Is there any discussion? All right, here none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. I do want to, you can wait till the first or the ninth to thank the administrator and staff, but I'm thankful for y'all already for all the hard work you put into it and easing the burden for us on reviewing this budget. I know y'all put a lot of time and energy into it. Thank you. Up next, I'm gonna call the county administrator. We have a RFP EMS billing service we need to address.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are looking to solicit requests for proposals from EMS billing services. We have a great relationship with our current provider. However, we do have a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayer to make sure we're getting the most bang for our buck and provide the best level of service we can. So what we're looking to do is put out that request for proposals to see who else is out there, not saying the current provider is doing a bad job, but to see what other services may be available to increase collections and provide a better level of customer service to our ratepayers. So that's the request I'm asking.
First request from the county administrator to put out an RFP for EMS billing services. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Rankin. Second by Mr. Carroll. Is there any discussion?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
years ago, not years ago, when I first came on council, the EMS was taking the lead. And I just wondered, then we got this collection service, how's that going? A lot better than it was?
It's going really good, and it could possibly get better. A lot of factors play into that. How payment frequency, the economy, so on and so forth. That's part of the request for these proposals to see what they think they could get as far as a return and what level of customer service they can, provide to the ratepayer. So we're going to collect all this data, and when we mull through it and figure out what's what, we'll bring it back to council and say, hey, here's where we're at, and here's where we could be going, or we're fine at where we're at right now. But we'll be bringing that to council once we get all those solicitations in.
Well, that kind of gives an idea whether we get 70%, 80%.
Yes, sir.
And there is when we meet on Monday next week, there's a line item in the budget that tells us how much we cover through the collection side. And it has increased the past few years, but I don't know off the top of my head. But it is trending up, but those numbers will be in the budget when we address it.
We were at the mercy of people that want to pay fine, but it's fine. That's good.
Any other discussion? Having a motion. Second, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. All the new business we have for this evening. Last but not least, county council comment. I'll start with my right, Ms. Clark.
I just want to say, thank you for the National Public Safety Communication Week. Thank you all so much. And I see Ms. Walked in the room late, but if you can come up and see if you. You can come up at this time, and we just wanted to, we don't read it, but anyway, to present you with us on behalf of y'all ballroom event. We thank y'all so much, and thank you for having it in District 3, my district. Thank you so much. That'd be all. And thank all of you all for coming down tonight.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I also want to echo her sentiments as far as Emergency Telecommunications Week, and thank everyone that works in those departments for your hard work to keep our citizens safe. I know Chairman Pettis is probably going to mention this as well, but I had the opportunity to attend a press conference at Prisma, the Lawrence location here, the unveiling of their new amazing helicopter, medic helicopter, that will be utilized tremendously well here in our county to help certain airlift situations, to get those people that need desperate help the attention and medical service that they need in a much quicker response time. So actually, I'm afraid of heights, but I did get the opportunity to take a flight in that helicopter and got a beautiful tour of the city of Clinton and Presbyterian College. I know it was a little bit scary there for the first 30 seconds, but you know, it ended up being a very enjoyable experience. And then one of the guys in the helicopter, he was telling me that these aircraft are so safe, and he would rather fly in that helicopter in bad weather than do what these guys on EMS do every day. So that's a testament to how safe these aircraft are. It was apparently several $1 million. It was a 2014 model, which I know sounds kind of old for a helicopter, but apparently it's actually pretty new in the aircraft world. And it actually, before it came to Lawrence County, it flew tours over the Grand Canyon. So I thought that's pretty cool. But we have a tremendous aircraft. Prisma has been a great partner for us here. And I can't wait to see this program continue to develop. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. I did keep my feet firmly planted on the ground. Just for continuity of operation purpose. Mr. Drew.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Giannis.
No.
Ms. Anderson.
Nothing.
Carol.
Just briefly, though, we are blessed in this county, in this community with emergency services and people that work for the county that are dedicated to their community and making sure that it's better for the citizens. And anytime we can honor anyone's special week, telecommunicators, EMS week, fire, anything, we should, because they really are really fighting for us every day. And it was interesting to see an entire community believe that and want that in their community. I think everybody would want to have their own EMS operation in their own community for life-saving needs and time of response. So we'll certainly look at that. I can't promise exactly what we can produce, but certainly am glad that you're invested in your community and looking forward to that.
Thank you, Carol. I'll be brief tonight. Thank you for your team. I know you guys were lucky enough to come down and see the folks during the week and bring breakfast. And I know they got lunch from all kinds of agencies across the county, and it was well deserved. Thank you for all your reports day in and day out. I do want to recognize he's hiding again, but Chief Latta from the City of Clinton. Appreciate all you do to keep the citizens of Clinton safe, and our day in and day out. Well, glad to have you with us. The Waterloo Council that's here with the mayor. We appreciate all y'all for coming. And for future reference, you do not have to sign up in public comment if you come speak. All you gotta do is send the email or give us a call. I'll be more than happy to put you on the agenda for anything you need to address with us. We are grateful for your service. We know what it's like to serve the citizens. So thank you for all y'all do for your community. And we will definitely see. Kevin's already back there sweating the questions I'm going to be asking him when we get done. But we do look forward to looking into that and seeing what we can do to address your concerns. With that being said, I look forward to seeing you all on Monday to dive into the budget. With that being said, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Rankin, second by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0.